Okay, so let's see the practical application we are going to develop now.
Normal user, see, so he doesn't get the option to insert any data, right? But if I log in as admin, if I log in as admin, say I get it, then if I put department number 50, say housekeeping departments, some department, right, and say second floor, this should work, right? So save, okay, save successful, and clears the screen. Awesome, guys. So this is the end of the lesson. So you will see the department number 50 housekeeping will be in the database, right? So if you go here, check the table, right?
Okay, so let's continue to develop this application now.
And know what happens. So let's see what's the best thing to do. So now I have two options. One is like I did, like we did in the previous user example, we can create a user data transfer object, right? A user DTO, right? In this case, like department DTO something, and pass some data. But in this case, I just need to let the front end know whether the insertion was successful or not. In that case, it's just a status, right? So either I can put it to a DTO, and in fact even put the message if it's successful. I can in a DTO, data transfer object. If you can't remember, look at the previous lesson, right? Because we explained what is DTO. So you can put what the message even, and then the front end can just receive the data transfer object and read what is inside it and even display. So either option is there, but I don't want to make it a bit complicated for you by putting a DTO. I can put it. The best case would be put a DTO, then put the status, and then put the message, and then send the DTO to the front end, and then the front end can just check that, whatever the message coming, right, and then even in fact display the message, right. uh, let's put the DTO, doesn't matter, let's put the DTO, because I think it's important for you to know it. So similar to user login DTO, now I'm going to put, like, let us say department DTO, right. Say department DTO, right. Let's make it generic, right. So I can say department insert DTO. We might have to change it later, but for now I will just create a class and say department DTO, right. So the department DTO, we might have to change this later with a different name, but user login DTO. So department, let's put it in the DTO. I just need to have only two things, right. You remember what you had in the user login DTO, so like you had only a user level, right. Same we have done there, right. So what I would do is same in the department DTO. I will say what I want, right. So right, I'll say I want the status, int I status, whatever the status code, whether it's successful or not, right. And probably a message, I want to pass a message, right. So for these two, I would like to create the getters and the setters, right. Then what I'm going to do from the controller is, when the controller receives, right, when the controller receives, yes, controller department, when the controller receives this, I'm going to embed this, right. So if it's 0, now the controller knows that it's not successful. So what the controller does is, controller will create object of that DTO, right. So department DTO object. So controller creates that department DTO object, right. And now in the department DTO, you remember it had a status code and the message, right. So what the controller does is, to the DTO object, now it sets the status, okay, the status code. Okay, I would like to do one small thing, just a quick thing, my friends, give me a sec. I would go to the department DTO and I would just, let's I can keep it as this, doesn't matter. I just want to do it as simple as possible for you, right. So just make it like this, just doesn't matter, with the earlier one also it works, but I just want to make it a bit simple to you as much as possible. So status code. So in the department controller, right? I'm going to say the status code is whatever the status code you received, right? This one. So doesn't matter, irrespective of what it is, it's always the same department status code, because it's not going to change whether it's successful or not. So it's, but the message is what is going to change. So the DTO message here will be what, save unsuccessful, right? Save right, save unsuccessful. If not, the DTO message will be save successful, right? I'm just showing you, right? Simple. And then what this returns is not void, this will return a department DTO, right? Similar to what we did in the previous case. So same, now I'm deleting this because I took it as a template code, right? Right? And then you have to make sure that the interface also says that it returns a what, department DT data transfer object. So the I department controller also should say that it returns a DTO object. Now what the front end should do is, like similar, if you look at the login form, what it did was, we'll copy that code. The login form connects to the user controller, but now I have to connect to department controller, right? So let me copy this as a reference, and let me take it as a reference, right? And then do the code for the admin department main form save method, right? So now only we are going to write the save method, right, after everything. So just keep this here as just template code, and we will delete this, right? You know, I'm going to delete this. In this case, I have to create a, not a user controller, I have to create a department controller, right? So depart, so let's see, we have to use yeah, we have to say we need the, if you remember, look at this, in the login form we said we are using that controller, so you have to say that you are using the controller, otherwise it does not know where to get it from, right? So you have to say that you are using the, so from the controller you can say you need the what, department controller, right? So you want the department controller because the front end is connected to the controller, right? The front end is connected to the controller. Now then from the controller you will call whatever the method, right? So in the department controller you want to call what method? The insert method. So insert department, and then you want to pass the data, but first one should be an integer, so you have to say, okay, let me say textbox1 dot text, textbox2 dot textbox3 dot text, but the first one should be an integer, right? So I have to convert the first one, just make sure you convert this one into a integer. So convert dot you to int, right? So these are minor things, so you have to make sure that you can, so you convert that and pass, right? And then you know that this controller is returning the DTO object, right? So because of that you have to create the department DTO, right? You mean the front end should get the result in the DTO, right? And now the front end can output the message, right? This is the front end, right? Because now I'm in the save method. So now the save method should tell the user what, so the message is in the DTO because the controller put it to the DTO, right? So you will say message box dot show, right? And what to show is the data coming from the DTO, right? So DTO dot message, right? That is why the controller put the message. So this is the concept, guys, right? So that's it. I'm going to delete this because I'm always taking it as a reference, because once you do it properly you can use it always as a template. Now let's see what's happening. So now your main form save method is connecting to the department controller and inserting and getting it and displaying. Then the controller, the department controller, right? Let's see, it's department controller, right? I have to check the interface. It's returning a department DTO, so I have to make sure that the department controller, okay, it looks fine. What's this error? So Okay, not all code paths return the value. So if you look at there, it says not all code paths return the value, which means I have to make sure that I return this, right? So once I finish this, once I assign whatever it is, I have to return the DTO, right? So I will say return the. So what the controller does is controller connects to the logic, insert the data, right, and get whatever the status and put that status into the DTO and put the relevant message. That is what the controller does. The controller always delegates and get done the work from the logic and then decides what to do next, right? So the routing task, in this case, it's there's no routing, it's just deciding the filling the DTO object, right, and returning it. Then what the logic does is logic will if you look at the department logic, then what it does is it connects to the DAO and insert the data, and the DAO, what it does is it connects to the adapter which is auto generated from the data set and insert the query. So everything looks okay. Let's run and see, right? So first of all, I would like to look at my current department data, right? So I will say show table data, right? I just want to see what is there. So I got these departments, department number 10, 20, 30, right? So I'm going to put let us say department number 40, say sales, IT, marketing, accounts. Say let us say I want to put department number 40, accounts department, right? So let's do it now. Let's run this. Okay, it says there are some errors, so I have to see what are these errors, right? So expected. Okay, because you remember I deleted something earlier, the getters and setters, then it has I have by mistake and deleted the let's see now. Let's go as admin, right? Login. Okay, department form. Let's put department number 40. What did it say? Accounts, and let us say some location, right? First floor. So let's see whether this works. Let's click save. It says save successful, right? Now let's go and see whether it has inserted this department number 40. For that I have to close this. We close this. Let's stop. Okay, it stop, right? So let's look at the data. Let's look at whether that data has gone to the table. Awesome, guys, awesome. So it has inserted the data, right? So you should be really happy, my friends, because the concept, the theory is in action. So it has inserted the department number 40. So I should see you all as a happy bunch of viewers, completely understanding this concept, right? And which looks awesome for you, right? So it saves the data, right? So it starts with say the so the number 40 has gone, right? Number 40 has gone. And overall, let's see one thing. So what you did was, from the department main form, when you click save, you saw the flow, right? So it does everything, it displays, right? And let us say after displaying the message, if it's successful save, meaning if the status code is not 0, right? So if this DAO, right, DTO dot status code, right, is not equal to 0, right? Because if it's 0, that means, so if it's not equal to 0, so that means it's successfully inserted. So you want to clear the text boxes, right? Because it's successfully inserted, right? If it's not 0, so that means you want to call this method again. So what I would like to do is, because I don't want to duplicate, because if I copy and put this code here, I'm duplicating, right, here. And so I would like to have another method called save method, like say private void save, sorry, not save, what, clear, right? Clear clear the screen, right? Something like that. So and then I would like to put this here. These are simple stuff. And then I would like to call this method from both the places, right? So from here as well, right, and here as well, right? Looks good, my friends, right? Looks good. So let's see whether it works, right? So with that, we are going to conclude the lesson, and you saw the complete flow, right? So very quickly, when you click the save button, it calls the controller. Then the controller, if you go, the controller calls the logic. Then if you go to the logic in the model, the logic calls the DAO, and the DAO will connect to the adapter and get the work done, and then all the data is returned back, right? And then finally it comes to the controller, right? And the controller creates a data. That's what always it does. Controller does all the controlling and redirections, and if some data needs to be sent back to the view, the controller should put it to the DTO, data transfer object, and then pass the DTO back to the front end. So the front end gets the DTO, right? The once you click save, the front end gets the call the controller, right? And get the DTO and deal with that, right? All good. Let's put one more department. Let's say department number 50, housekeeping department. Sorry, what's this? Admin, right? And one thing before I finish, I want to, so if I log in as a normal user, I will not see that admin form, right? See, this ABC is a normal user, see, so he doesn't get the option to insert any data, right? But if I log in as admin, say I get it. Then if I put department number 50, say housekeeping departments, some department, right? And say second floor, this should work, right? So save, okay, save successful, and clears the screen. Awesome, guys. So this is the end of the lesson. So you will see the department number 50 housekeeping will be in the database, right? So if you go here, check the table, right? Okay, so with that, I'm going to say that we successfully completed the session and we inserted the data. So now you know how to use the concept of MVC and insert data into a database. But make sure you have to look at all the lessons in the series in order for you to understand, right? So what will be next? Until this loads, I will show you what's going to be next is, right? So now you did this part. So what's next is going to be, so we continued and we did some practicals, right? So reference was Microsoft Docs. What's next? One thing before this, what's next is now we inserted, then we need to update and delete and search, right? So look at the next video about updating, delete and searching for the data. So we'll continue this for the next video, and also look at our other videos, right? So let's meet again with another successful lesson, but let's see with before that it should show you the data, right? So it might take a little bit of time to refresh. So I just click on the refresh button. So but I just want to don't waste your time. As you saw, the number 40 accounts department data was inserted, 50 will be inserted. So just try this and you will see it. So let's meet with another nice video, guys. Until that, see you, right?